Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's Critical Misses, catching up on all the hits we missed. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpier.
Howdy.
We're season 8. We're finally done with our 6-movie Alien quadrilogy, so we're
We are
moving
so
on
stupid
to...
sometimes.
Yeah, it's great. So we're moving on to season 8 here, and introducing kind of a new theme here for the show. Moon had a really great idea and suggestion, so I'm going to turn it on over to you to kind of explain what a twinned movie is.
Yep. So a twin movie is essentially a movie, a pair of movies that came out at around about the same time with very similar themes,
Mm-hmm.
very similar storytelling, and very similar general plot structure that, for whatever reason, just happens to come out usually within the same year or two.
Right. This one even
So
has very similar actors.
yes, a discount version of one might say.
Right. Right.
So the most obvious 2 or 4 for this category would be Dante's Peak and Volcano, came out
Right.
around about the same time, and the super duper obvious one, Deep Impact and Armageddon.
Right. Right.
So they came out really close to each other. They have very similar story, very similar themes. It just so happens that, maybe one is more popular than the other. Maybe one is a better movie than the other, kind of thing.
Sure.
Now, generally speaking, I think we're both in agreement on this. We are going to use the twin movies theme like a breath, an intake.
Yeah, just a quick twofer between larger seasons.
Yes, because there is, and I didn't know what the name of this was until I mentioned it to you. I was like, yeah, I'm sure there's a name for it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out there is a Wikipedia article dedicated to this.
There you go.
So we have lots to choose from. Most of these I have not seen or heard of, if I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So Battleship and Pacific Rim are considered a twinned movie.
Oh, okay. I guess I can sort of see that. That's interesting.
Have you seen the Battleship movie?
No, I have not.
Okay, because I haven't either. I was going to say, if you've seen that and not Aliens, I was going to start throwing fists.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the twin movies we're going to watch this time are 2018's Venom and Upgrade. Venom featuring Tom Hardy and Upgrade featuring Diet Tom Hardy. So
yes, Logan Marshall Green or whatever it is with the triple barrel name.
That sounds right. Yeah, one of the triple barrels. So first up, we're going to watch Venom featuring Tom Hardy and the symbiote. I feel like I have heard a lot about this movie from a lot of people feeling very strongly about it. I feel like if you...
We should probably clarify on this as well. Have you seen either of these movies?
No, I've always meant to watch Upgrade because people are always like, yo, dude, you should watch Upgrade. It's great. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, it's on the short list. And then we're going to do twins. So might as well do it here. No, I haven't seen Venom, even though I'm a fan of the symbiote. I never got around to watching this.
Okay, because I have seen both.
Oh, okay. I feel like the biggest feedback I've heard from this one is like, if you lean into this movie being kind of like tongue-in-cheek, wink and nod dumb, then you'll probably have a good time. But if you're expecting like a Marvel Phase 2 super action movie, then you're kind of going in with the wrong sort of expectation level.
I would agree with that. Like, you need to come at this like it's a bad movie. You need to. Like, you need to realize that this got made because Sony is about to lose its Spider-Man licenses.
Right.
And let's just poop out as many movies as we can, as quickly as we can, because they kept the Spider-Man franchise, obviously, because they've been doing those with Marvel in conjunction.
Right.
But they've also got the Venom suit. They've got the certain Spider-Man villains. I'm pretty sure are also under their purview.
So. Yeah.
But that is also based on producing content with those things.
Right. Because copyright law is a nightmare.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially when you literally sign a contract with a company however many years ago.
Right.
When did
Right.
Spider-Man 1 come out?
Oh, I was
Like,
thinking about when did X-Men 1 come out?
yeah, but that was Fox, which now doesn't matter
Ah,
anymore.
right. It's the third. It's the third studio making Marvel movies. Right, right, right. How
Yes.
could I forget?
Yeah, because the Fox ones don't matter anymore. And
Right.
we should clarify. I don't know if I mentioned it in last season, but Ripley is technically a Disney princess now, for the
Yeah.
record,
There you
folks.
go. Yeah, so I feel like that's the biggest thing. Number one, I will watch almost anything with Tom Hardy in it. Love him, super big fan. I think he's great. And I just like the symbiote. I know he's Eddie Brock. I don't really know anybody else in the movie. I don't think I've all
Yeah.
I've seen is like, it's largely about Eddie Brock and the symbiote. It's like, yeah, sure. All right. That's
hmm
that's all I really need.
I'm I'm pretty sure there is very limited crossover for the rest of the comics universe in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Um, there is a spoiler alert. There's an end credit scene,
Oh no.
which sets up a sequel. Which spoiler alert, a trailer for the sequel recently came out.
Yeah, because that's coming out relatively soon. We're recording here in the end of July 2021. Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Uh,
Uh,
I don't know. This one I'm kind of excited about. I'm very excited to watch the next movie. But I'm
out out of curiosity, what have you seen Tom Hardy in? Because I honestly I love Tom Hardy, but I have not seen a lot with him in. Like I feel like I've seen his Hollywood hits. Like I'm pretty sure, like on our critical misses list, we have a biographies one, and I put
mhm.
Legend in there because that's the Cray twins, and that's a London gangster movie, and Tom Hardy plays the Cray twins, and I'm all about that.
So rocking through his filmography here. I've seen Black Hawk Down. I've seen a
Wait,
little
Tom
bit
Hardy
of
was in Black Hawk Down.
That's his first one. Yeah.
Jeez.
I've seen a little bit of Layer Cake. He was in Sucker Punch. He is, of course, in Rock and Rolla, which is an incredible movie that nobody has seen.
That the British gangster movie as well?
Yes, he's Handsome
When we
Bob.
when we do our gangster movies, that might be one for you because I ain't seen Rock and Roller.
Oh, all right, next season. No, Inception, of course.
So good.
I
He's
think
great as Bane as well. I don't care what anybody says. He is amazing as Bane.
I think that's all that I've seen. Yeah, I think that's all because we haven't hit the Mad Max movies yet. Um,
hmm
But yeah, big fan of his. I think the very first movie I saw him in was Rock and Rolla. He
Okay.
plays a very major part in that movie. Um, so yeah,
Kinda
yeah, I like Tom Hardy. Other than that, I feel like it's been so long since I've seen Spider-Man 3 that I don't have the aftertaste of that Venom in my mouth. So
Especially not considering what an alleged POS the what's his face became. Thank you, Eric, for ruining my innocence.
yeah. Um, yeah, so I feel like I'm curious to see they how they get like the nuances of Venom in this movie because they kind of got it wrong in Spider-Man 3 where he wasn't referring to himself as we. That's kind of a critical part of Venom as a symbiote.
Mm.
Like they're just like, yeah, it's always, hey, it's me, Venom. Me, I, this guy. It's like, no, that's a pretty basic thing that you got real wrong. Um, so I feel like I've kind of bottom of the barrel expectations here, which I feel is probably the right thing going into this one.
So yeah, that's pretty much correct, and I'm going to lower those expectations so much right now
Right.
for you. So, number one, good expectation. I think to know about Tom Hardy is he is an excellent facial actor. Like he's
Yes.
so good with his face.
Hmm.
Like he expresses emotions so well. He can get away with anything without saying a word, because he emotes himself with his face so well, and it's one of my favorite features about him. Is just like, yeah, the dude can give you a look and say a paragraph,
Right.
which, when you're an actor, can be an excellent quality to have, which I do think he has. Now, on to the negatives.
Okay.
So, do we remember the whole Deadpool issue that Ryan Reynolds had while trying to shoot Deadpool with the studio?
I do not.
Ryan Reynolds, while making the standalone Deadpool movie, not the one that shall not be speaketh, the studio were trying to put it out as a PG-13.
Sure. Sort of missing the point.
Yes, and Deadpool, if anything, is a hard R every single time.
Yeah.
You can't do Deadpool without making it an R. You kind of can't do Venom without making it an R.
Gotcha.
Ryan Reynolds won his fight. ... The Venom crew didn't win their fight.
Right. So probably less body horror than probably we would want to see.
Yes, there is a lot of teenage slasher fic stuff where it's like, oh, start of an action, cut away so you're not seeing anything.
A shadow on an alley wall and some squishy noises.
Yes, very much that kind of thing. Apparently, I believe there was an R-rated cut of this making the rounds that got rejected. Like they just would not let it be released.
Right.
Tom Hardy, not the biggest comic books fan. However, his son, Lewis, is. And Tom Hardy took this role because of his son. He wanted to make a movie that his son would love. Very much like Viggo Mortensen in Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Viggo Mortensen only took that role because his kid told him to.
Right.
But yeah, this is... Lower your expectations as far as you possibly can.
Right.
Go into it knowing that this is a PG-13 Venom movie.
Right.
Which, spoiler alert, if you've read any Venom comics, he ain't a PG-13 kind of guy.
No.
So there's a lot of decision making that takes place that's probably I don't agree with.
Yeah, I mean I get how a team might you can understand how Ryan Reynolds being tied to a superhero movie would be able to win a lot of fights, but Tom Hardy and his crew on a Venom movie, it's not exactly like...
probably doesn't fight as hard as Ryan Reynolds for this, because Tom Hardy just like, cool, my kid likes it.
Right.
Whereas Ryan Reynolds was like, no, I was born to play Deadpool.
Right, this is literally me. Yeah. Yeah, you could see how they maybe didn't have the same weight to throw around on a Venom movie, sort of, for better or for worse.
Yes. So CG as well. We should talk about that.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Obviously the suit is CG.
Right.
Kind of goes without saying these days. But I can't really complain considering pretty much every single Spider-Man suit is CG, every single Iron Man suit is CG, obviously now. Most of the people in the Marvel Cinematic Universe are all just CG suits these days, and it always looks good. So
yeah, a lot of less and less practical stuff, especially on the MCU side.
Yeah, so...
It's a 2018 movie, so at least we're a little bit more recent than something like Alien 3, where it's like, oh yeah, that's some older CG, sure.
Yeah, only a little bit more recent, like 25 years more recent. This is
no big deal.
Levels?
Yeah. Oh man. Any last thoughts here for Venom?
It's not connected to the Spider-Man universe, but it is and it isn't at the same time.
It's like a little wink and nod, like, what's Spider-Man up to? Oh, don't worry about it. Here's the front page of a newspaper.
Yeah, which is interesting because Sony are also doing the Morbius movie.
Right.
Which hate Jared Leto, but I really want to see that movie because Jared Leto as a bad guy is always great.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's some hints around. There's some things going on here.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, let's go watch the movie.
Yup.
Welcome back. We have watched the movie, the nearly 2-hour 2018's Venom, which is
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, to be honest.
yeah, way longer than I was thinking of. I like the intro to this because I thought, boy, this is a real good transition from the Alien films to the Alien intro of Venom.
That's true.
Yeah, it's the Life Foundation, Weyland-Yutani, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah.
There's way more in this movie. How do I put this? Getting to Eddie Brock and the Venom smushing together, there's way more before that than I was really expecting.
Literally 59 minutes and 35 seconds until the full suit comes out.
Yeah, and all of it's fine, but like,
I love it. I love how
it's so much like, it's just a lot more than I think I care about nearly all of these characters, and at the same time, like, Michelle Williams isn't in this movie at all. She's in like 7 minutes of this movie through most of the runtime. Like, a real wasted opportunity. Can we talk about Tom Hardy's accent?
Yeah, it's weird.
What's going on there? Fairly sure he was trying to do like a Brooklyn thing, and it's like, nah, he's in San Francisco. Yep. It's like,
yeah, they do mention that he got kicked out of New York. Like, he got chased out of town.
Okay. Yeah.
So he is actually originally from New York, and they even throw in the Daily Globe reference there, which, for those of you who don't know, that's the newspaper that a certain webbed superhero works at.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. They really build up, like, they try to build up this sob story for Brock, where it's just like,
oh, he's an a-hole. He is.
Yeah, he's like one of those like ambulance chasers. He just can't help himself. Like, they really try to pin him against, what's that guy's name? Carlton Drake. They really try to pin him. It's like, well, look at this like 2-bit like Silicon Valley D-bag. Of course Eddie Brock's gonna have to take him down. It's like, yeah, he does, but at the cost of his
evidence.
Yeah, like at the cost of his loved one, who doesn't really like him that much, because he's sort of, like Venom keeps saying, he's kind of a loser, which is is great that they put Tom Hardy in this movie and they kind of make him a loser, which is really great. It's interesting because I feel like they get really close on this movie to getting to like a sense of justice for Eddie, but the stuff in like the first hour of the movie is sort of like, I mean, yeah, you got a sense of justice, but like, it sort of sucks.
I think the problem is I think with the comic books, it's real easy to do the whole anti-hero thing because Venom starts as a villain.
Right.
He just does. Whereas in this, you have like half of your runtime to portray Eddie Brock as a nice guy who does the wrong things.
Right.
And it's real hard to get that across as quickly as it is. I think they do an okay job. I'm not going to lie. I think they do an okay job with building up and breaking down Eddie Brock. But for me, the fun starts when Venom starts talking. Like, as soon as Venom starts talking to him, even before the full suit shows up, just the conversations, it's so good.
Yep. Yeah, it's... Go ahead.
Did you catch who the head doctor was, by the way?
The head doctor?
The lady doctor who worked directly underneath Drake.
Yeah, it's Jenny Slate, who I have only seen in like airhead comedic roles. I thought she did pretty great here. Like,
Yeah.
there's
You know
there's
how she
so,
got the role, don't you? She signed her
there's
contract and then she said, "Money, please."
oh yeah.
Yes, that was a Parks and Recs reference because
Oh,
she's the
there it
sister.
is. Okay, I forgot she was in. Yeah, I forgot she was in Parks and Rec. Um, I like that scene where Eddie Brock is talking to himself in the like bodega that lady runs, his bodega friend.
Oh, when
And
he's
he's
talking about how he used to be a journalist.
yeah, and then like he turns the corner and he's telling her like she's really crap at following people. That I thought that was a good little piece of work. Like it's not the most subtle thing, but it's pretty good. Yeah, it takes a really, really, really long time for Brock and Venom to smooch up and get together. And I actually really like a lot of the symbiote stuff. I think the voice for Venom is really good.
Which is also Tom Hardy, by the way.
Yeah, I was sort of blown away by that. Like he does a really great job.
Eddie. The enunciation on the different vowels is so good. Like it's like someone speaking a second language. It's so perfect.
Yeah, it's really great. Like he does a really good job of like feeling like he's just a little bit out of water, but then kind of picking up all the phrases that Eddie uses. I think that's really great. I really like how the symbiotes look. They have this like sticky quality to them, like this like fibrous, sticky, glutinous kind of look. Like they're just, if you throw them on a wall, they just kind of like they stick to the wall. Like yeah, like sticky feet. Like they're gross, and I really, really love it.
It is worth mentioning that one of the other movies in our list is biopics with Tom Hardy, and one of them is about the Cray twins, which is London gangsters, like notorious London gangsters. Tom Hardy plays the Cray twins, so he's got two roles in the same shot, essentially. And for that movie, he recorded one twin's lines and then played them over to himself, like played them in an earpiece for himself while he was acting as the other twin.
Oh, wow.
When he signed on to do this, he recorded Venom's lines first and then played them in an earpiece to himself so he could react to Venom's lines.
Oh, wow. Smart. Yeah, I really like a lot of that stuff. I actually really like the suit. Like when Venom comes out, I think it looks like appropriately wet. Like it just it looks.
I'm not gonna lie, I like the fact that the focal point every single time the full suit comes out is the mouth. Like it converges and finishes on the mouth.
Yep.
Because that's kind of Venom's thing, is the mouth.
Well, it's almost like it's eating Eddie. Like, when it comes out, it's kind of like absorbing him. I think that's really cool. And I actually really like that there's enough of a difference between Venom and Riot, especially when they're fighting at the end of the movie, that like, sure, one is like gray and one is black, but Riot has like, his mouth looks different, his eyes look different, like there's enough to differentiate them too. And I feel like in most movies it would be too easy to say like, well, this one's the gray one and Venom's the black one, so whatever, they look the same. They're the same species or whatever. But I think they did a pretty good job with that. I feel like you definitely mentioned some potential issues with the rating of this movie in the first.
This should be a hard R. Could you imagine how much better this would be as a hard R?
Just a lot of like Venom, like 3 frames away from chomping off somebody's head, and then it cuts away to someone like looking on and being like, "Oh God, oh what did you do?" And it's like, yeah, he chomped, he chomped, he bit a head
Yep.
off, no big deal.
Like that entire like fight scene in the newspaper in the news building with the smoke grenades and everything like that, which
Yeah,
is one of my favorite lines is mask up, copy, mask
hmm
up, copy is
yep,
so great.
yeah. Venom picking
Um,
up on that stuff is real good.
and like, you want up? Why didn't you just say?
Yeah,
And
I really gotta give him credit again for how good that Venom voice is, because it really doesn't sound like Tom Hardy doing a voice.
doing a bit, yeah.
Yeah, like it could be like, "Cheerio, governor, I'm Venom," and just like Tom, please, Thomas, why? Like it does, it
Uh-huh.
really does. You put it best. Like it just sounds like he's learning the language, and all the pronunciations and pacing and everything is a little bit off. There's a lot to say about Venom as a movie, but I feel like that is really well done.
Uh-huh. I will say as well, like I mentioned it in the first part of this episode. Like I love Tom Hardy's face acting in this. Like he acts
Yep,
with his whole body, and
yep,
it's so good when like Venom just shouts "food," and
yep,
he reacts with his whole body, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" Like who said that?
yep,
No, I'm not talking to you, the person I'm talking on the phone to. I'm talking to the voice inside my head.
yeah,
And the constant parasite jokes, it makes me laugh. Like smashing through that window, and he's like, "How'd you do that?" He's like, "Apparently, I have a parasite," and
right,
then it like bulletproof shields the entire window.
yep, yeah. I feel like I like the bad guy in this, Carlton Drake. Like I
I like him
feel,
because I hate him.
yeah, and like I feel like he has a fairly solid arc of like
Hmm.
this like believable Silicon Valley progress at any cost dude that gets into the medical field and is like, yeah, I mean, like we made a lot of progress by experimenting on people. Never mind. Anyways, nanomachines. I feel like
Hmm.
his
And
arc,
how
good.
how very 2021 of him to be like, "Look, mankind's future was in space." It's like,
Ex- like watching this in the middle of 2021 is sort of like, yeah, weird. Um,
hmm,
but like it feels like his descent into this like getting power by any means, by kind of stepping over the people in his path, feels like him getting Riot kind of feels like it's a natural extension of that. I feel like they did a pretty good job of doing that, but without making him like mustache twirly. It was just a lot of
hmm,
like, no, I'm gonna go do this thing. Of course, I'm gonna pilot this rocket into space. Don't worry, we've got it.
yeah.
Which is
And of course, I'm
thank you for doing
gonna
that.
suit up and stab the dude who's trying to do the abort sequence.
Yeah, like that. He's like, I'm holding it together. Wait a minute, and then just turns into this big dude with like axe hands, which looks really
Yeah.
cool. It's just,
I will say I do love the restaurant scene, where
yeah,
he first escapes and he's trying to find his ex who's on
hmm,
a lunch date with a doctor.
yep,
And he's basically like, "Yeah, I've got like I went and broke into a lab. There's human experiments going on. I think I might be infected." And then like starts doing the whole like trying to find something to eat thing. And one of my favorite deliveries is when he like grabs the lobster off the waiter's plate,
hmm.
takes a bite out of it, puts it back down on the plate, and is like, "This is dead. This is dead." It's
It's a
just that delivery
really,
is
like it's a
so good.
really good line. Like and I think it really I think it really sells very quickly that like Venom isn't like a mindless kind of organism. Like
Hmm.
he has his own wants and desires, he has his own preferences, but he's not going to eat something that's dead. Like, come on, this thing already dead. Like I can't eat this. Um,
Yeah. And fun fact, by the way, Eddie Brock getting into that fish tank in that
Yep,
scene, improvised.
great. That's a good piece of work. It also trips me up that Michelle Williams's new boyfriend is there's this old, I guess maybe it's old now, it's probably like 10, 15 years old. There's an old TBS show called My Boys that I really liked. It's about this woman who worked for the Chicago Cubs as like um, as a reporter. And he was in that as like this kind of like dirtbag womanizing dude, and to see him in here is like, I'm an MRI tech. And I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
that's a bit. I haven't seen you in a couple of years. That's a bit of whiplash. Um, I I think one of my larger issues talking about the MRI stuff is how quickly the movie is ready to say like, all right, 2200 to like whatever 5500 hertz. That the parasite
It's
doesn't like
2,000 to
that.
6,000 heads. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and
Everybody.
it's like you could have probably just used the MRI noise over and over again as opposed to like here's this specific bit of info that everybody knows just sort of out of hand.
Oh yeah, and immediately it's like fire as well. Like Venom is just like, yeah, fire, fire will do it as well while they're
Right,
driving in the car. It's
right, and it's like Venom, you don't need to tell him that, sweetheart. Like you just
like,
protect yourself a little
yeah,
bit. I do like that effect though when some sort of sound is making them separate a little bit. I like that kind of like jittery
the sonic
superimposed.
vibration kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. Like it's used as well in
Excuse me.
the lobby fight.
Yeah,
Because they start throwing flashbangs out, and you see him like outlined, and then it does the spiky outline as the suit struggles, and then comes
yeah,
back again.
super cool. And I actually like how they did that at the end where they're fighting kind of on and around that the rocket. Or both of them, Riot and Venom, are kind of separating and mushing on each other and like flopping between the two and eating each other. Like it's a scene that I think you think of like the first Michael Bay Transformers movie, where that's sort of the go-to example of like here's how to not do an action scene. Like, oh hi Louise. She has opinions about Michael Bay too.
Yes.
But like I feel like that was my worry seeing the two of them start to fight was, oh no, they're gonna have it too close and it's just gonna be like this mush of like stringy
CG
alien
nightmare.
bits. Yeah, like, but I feel like they did pretty well with both of those, and I like that both Eddie Brock and Carlton Drake got like a real short fight scene between the two of them, just by
Mhm.
themselves without the symbiotes. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, yeah,
Honestly, it sounds like you are middle of the road on this. Like it sounds like you enjoyed it,
yeah,
but it's not like obviously it's not an all-time classic for you because
I
we've just come off Alien as well. So
I think the thing about this movie is, I think it's good. I think I try to go into comic book movies having a very low set of expectations because I feel like
Mm.
if they if they exceed my expectations in any way, like the first X-Men movie, like seeing that in theaters, the first Spider-Man movie, seeing that in theaters, it's just like, oh God, like you did.
both, well, actually, to be honest, all three of the first Spider-Man movies, I would
Oh, for
say,
sure.
were were all quality, great things.
I mean, the first Iron Man movie, it's like, yeah, like all right, like you made a comic book movie that's actually fairly solid here, and I think Venom is in an unenviable position where it's coming well after the MCU has been established. And
And this was also in production purgatory for like 10 years.
right, and it's also so it's going to get compared to those like massively giant blockbuster films, but it's also going to get
Mhm.
compared to the DC universe, the DC movies,
Yes.
where they're saying like, well, if it's not Marvel, like, I guess it's gonna be Justice League, right? Woof. And it's just like, well, it's not like a binary system here. It
No.
I think Venom is a good movie. It's obviously not great. It's obviously not like a 10 out of 10. It has a bunch of problems. It's
This
oddly
movie is great
yeah,
for me.
it's oddly slow and fast at the same time. It's kind of all over the place, but like at its core, the relationship between Eddie and Venom, which is the most important part about this movie, is
So good.
really solid and really well done at every single turn. And I have like a multitude of like really weird small issues too. Like when he's getting ready to go stop the one thing that drives me crazy in TV shows and movies, and I understand why this happens. Nobody write in. Is when they're shooting something at night, but you can tell it was shot during the day, and there's just a blue filter over it. Like Eddie has his back to the sun, and it looks like it's at nighttime. It's like, come on. Come on. I know why you do it. I know shooting schedules, I know budgets, et cetera, but like, you're killing me here.
Interesting. One of my favorite movies of all time has a very protected scene, which is a night for day shot. So I'm
Yeah.
very curious how that one affects you.
Okay. But I think Venom is really solid. I think there's a lot to like there, and I think it's one of these movies where I know there's another one coming out in September of this year, so now technically next month.
I was going to ask, as an
Yeah.
experiment, do we want to time mark this now and watch the trailer really quick and see how you feel about the trailer, having seen the movie now?
No, because I kind of want to go into it. So,
As
okay,
blind as you can.
two reasons why I want to go into this blind. Number one, I know it's called what's the title for the next one?
Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah, Let There Be Carnage, and then the post-credits sequence with Cletus Cassidy, played by Woody Harrelson. Yeah, man. Yeah, I want to go see that pretty badly. I want to go see the red guy fighting the black guy. Like,
just for the record, it is Woody Harrelson in the new one. It's
right.
not like a recast or anything like that. It's literally Woody Harrelson.
I like Woody Harrelson in a lot of stuff. I think he's a pretty good actor. So yeah, like I feel like Venom was a larger hit than I think pretty much anybody was expecting. So I have a little bit.
I just wish they'd done it. Oh, just do it. Oh,
right.
Give me an hard R.
And like I feel like my expectations for the second one are probably going to be just a little bit higher because I think this movie surprised everybody. So I'm hoping the next one has a little bit of a bigger budget because this one budget was like 115 million and it made like $800 million. So like,
yep.
Yeah.
I think it also helped. I'm pretty sure it came out when not a lot was coming out at that same time. Like I think 2018 was the Marvel break year. I think when they only put out 2 movies instead of 6.
Right.
So I like this movie a lot. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like it's so dumb in all of the right ways for me. And yeah, they should have made it an R. They really should have. Like still have the dumb humor in there. Like
Yep.
I love everybody's reaction every time somebody bites somebody's head off, like especially when the girlfriend does it in the Lady Venom suit.
Yep.
Like, it's so good in so many different ways, and it shouldn't be good. It should not be good. Like we've said it before, like Ryan Reynolds knows Deadpool.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy does not know Venom, but yet still, I think he pulls it out the bag. Like he performs
I think he gets
Venom
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he plays it so well, and we mentioned in the first part, it's probably due to his son, who is a huge Venom fan.
Right.
But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this is a good start, and if this is all we got, then that would be fine.
Sure.
And to be honest, this is all we were all expecting, only to get this one.
Yep.
Because it's almost 4 years later and the sequels come out, which that's a long time for a sequel.
Especially for like a comic book movie.
Yes. So I'm really glad it did what it did. I think one of the things I forgot to mention as well was like the unnatural movements. I love the unnatural movements. Like the first forest escape is a good example of that, when he's in the woods and like he just gets, it's clearly Venom doing it, but he gets dragged up off the ground and then pushed
he gets
forwards.
like yanked to the right to avoid some bullets. Like that stuff's real good.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. And it's like, you know what? Bring it on. Like, and the fact that the closing line of the movie, which you complained about for the previous one, the closing line from Venom in this movie is, or close to it, is close to the end of the movie, is "We are Venom."
Yep,
They literally
made me very happy.
Ends the movie with that line, basically.
Yep. And I think it's a really interesting close to the movie too, to have Eddie Brock being like, "Yep, he died in that explosion. I'm super sad about Venom being really dead. Anyway, let's I gotta go. See you. I gotta go do superhero Venom stuff. Never mind. Bye." I really like that. Number one, he's a bad liar about it. But I like that the Venom is still around for. I mean, now that we know a sequel's coming out, so obviously, but like, I like that the relationship between the two of them is kind of progressing. So that made me happy.
Like the whole, I'm not gonna lie as well. I love Mrs. Chen. Like the whole development of Mrs. Chen and that little bodega throughout the entire movie, where it's like gets done for protection money. Eddie doesn't do a thing. Then that's where he is when he finds the doctor lady.
Yeah,
you know, the whole life hurts Eddie is a great line.
Yeah,
and then at the end, it's just like he literally goes in. Which, fun fact, according to the comic books, symbiotes need phenethylamine, which is available in brains and chocolate, just so you know. Which is why Venom craves chocolate.
Gotcha.
A lot.
Interesting, I didn't know that.
But yeah, I love that whole scene where Venom's like, bad guy, and he's like,
Yeah.
And they do the whole speech with the threatening of the dude. And it's such a childish like threat, like I'm gonna rip off your arms, your legs, and bite your face off.
I like that he's like,
you're just gonna be like a rolling turd down a hill.
Yeah, he's like an armless, legless, faceless rolling turd. It's just like that's really good. And then he's like, "No, never mind, I'm gonna eat you."
Yeah, on second thoughts, nom 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 nom.
Yeah,
and then literally walks out without buying anything because now the hunger's being sated.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Bye, Mrs. Chan.
Yeah, and I do like that. I feel like it happens a little too fast. This movie's weird because it's like too slow and too fast at the same time. Where like Venom, I think Venom makes the choice to stay on Earth a little bit and protect it a little too quickly. I like that the line is like, well, we're both kind of losers, so like, you know, we might as well stick together. This place seems okay. Like, I like the idea that this like horrible, disgusting symbiote ooze monster is a loser on his planet.
He's the Eddie Brock of the symbiote planet.
Pretty much, yeah. And like, especially when he tells Eddie, like, you know, Riot's got stuff you've never seen, and then like 2 minutes later, he's like, "Yeah, I told you." like, look at this dude. Yeah, it's good. I like it. I'm very excited to see the next one. Maybe I'll go see that.
This is to me as well.
Theaters.
This is the quintessential popcorn movie. Like this is the you switch your brain off, you go in, and you just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, the bad guy is bad. The good guy is dumb and good. You know, everybody in his life is there to help him in like 2 important scenes in the movie that total 5 minutes apiece. You know, it's got it all. Yeah, but not in a bad way. Yeah.
No.
Any closing thoughts here for Venom?
No. That's pretty much it.
Excited to see the next one.
I totally forgot who else is in the next one.
Who's that? I saw it's directed by Andy Serkis, which is really great.
Wait, what? That I did not know.
Yeah, due to his experience with CG, they're like, yeah, bring in the
Yeah,
CG
on
dude. It's
motion
like,
capture and stuff like that.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
well, that's not a bad idea.
No, Russell Crowe's in it, dude.
Oh no, the singer himself.
Yes, the singer himself is in this movie.
God, who is he gonna play?
I don't know. I'm trying to go in blind.
God, all right, okay, sure.
Looks like he's playing a cop. That much I can tell
Oh,
from the
okay,
fact that he's constantly wearing a holster and has a gun in it. But it's America, so he could just be a regular Joe.
that's true. Maybe he's from the FBI, which I like that there's that bit in the prison at the end where
Is
he's
it
like, oh,
Russell
I'm with
Crowe?
the
Am I
FBI.
am I losing my mind? Have I got face blindness all of a sudden?
Maybe.
Yeah, looks like I might have. Oh well, who knows? Let's see.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it for Venom. Next up, we're going to be we'll doing the intro for Upgrade, the second of our twinned movies. So we hope we'll see you there. Bye.
Bye.